It is my second favorite day when it comes to home brewing. It is kegging day. This means that we're getting one day closer to drinking day or tasting day. So I'm just getting everything prepped here. I'm going to be using this mini keg and I'm going to show you how to put the homebrew in it and get everything set up to force carbonate it. So I've just got everything set up. I've got my liquid line out here. I've got my gas in. I've got my CO2 tank and my regulator. All I need to do is turn it on here. I have already filled up my keg with Star San Sanitizer, and now we're just going to hit it with a little bit of CO2 just so that we can pump it through. We don't need a lot. It's about 12 psi will do just fine. And now I'm just going to go ahead and pour it here into a bucket. And this will be where my Star San Sanitizer will be. And this will keep everything sanitized as we are moving through here. I'm really just going to pump the whole thing through here, a couple gallons worth, and just going to pump it all out of the keg here. Make sure everything's nice and sanitized as far as my tubes and inside of the keg and everything. Now that all the sanitizers ran through the keg, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my CO2 and dump what's left out of the keg here. Go ahead and close up the CO2 tank here, and we'll let out the gas. It's got a nifty here. Let's look for the hiss. All right, open that up, take off my hoses. I'll actually set this in the sanitizing solution there, which is fine, just the party tap. Take off that. I'll just dump what's left in here and let it drain into the sink. So we are going to just go ahead and dump that. Let it sit upside down for a few minutes to make sure all of the Star San Sanitizer gets out of there. This is a no rinse sanitizer, so it doesn't have to be rinsed out afterwards. So our keg is all clean and sanitized. Now let's go ahead and get the beer prepped and everything else. So I am going to be using my auto siphon. So I'm going to make sure I'm getting this all cleaned up, run a little bit of sanitizer through it, and my tubes for bottling as well. So I'll just go ahead and get my hoses on here and run some Star San through there to get everything sanitized here. Just a couple pumps here. Make sure I get the hose down in there, get everything nice and sanitized on the inside and out. I'll let that sit for a few minutes and come back to it. Now let's go ahead and crack open the beer here. I'm just going to open it right up and we'll take a look inside and see our tasty beer here that has been fermenting for 2 weeks now. All right, looks pretty good to me. Just going to give it a sniff here. Smells good. Now let's go ahead and get it transferred into the keg. So I'm going to switch spots here with my sanitizing solution and my keg. And now I'm going to take my auto siphon. I've got the hose pretty well cleaned out. I'm just going to dump what I can out here. Perfect. Everything looks to be pretty clear and good. I'll get everything back together here. Just give it a few pumps, make sure there's nothing in there. All right. And then, of course, I've got the nose here that goes on the auto siphon. This helps keep all that trube out at the bottom of the beer. Now again, remember, you don't go all the way into the beer here. I'm just going to go down about halfway and then I'm going to chase it around as far as getting it down in there. I've only got the one camera here and the two pair of hands, so I'm not going to be able to get you the best look, but this is how we are going to go ahead and pump it into the keg. One thing that happens is when you start to pump, you're going to move the hose. So sometimes that hose will pop out, so you want to make sure that it's in there very nice. And if you have it available, you can use a rubber band or something to just kind of help strap it in place. So if I was going to show you here, I could just kind of wrap a rubber band around it, put it on the out hose there, and that just kind of holds it in place so that it won't come out super easy. It could still come out, but at least it won't be easy. I'll really have to try. And believe me, that's something that I could do. All right, let's go ahead and get to pumping. Typically 1 or 2 good pumps, and now we're cruising. All righty. And that is it. Go ahead and grab the hose, pull it out of here. I'm just going to turn it around and plop this in the sink here. The keg is all full. I'm just going to sanitize the lid. All right, then the lid can go in here. And boom. And that's it. That took like 10 minutes. For me, it took probably 15 minutes because I was making the video here, but it's super easy. Now it's all kegged up. I'm just going to hit the gas in here. And now we can get it primed. So for this, I'm going to hit it up to 30 psi here. And I'm going to let it sit there for 2 days at 30 psi. So I'm going to get my CO2 on here. Let's get the gas going. Keep cranking here. I'm going to get it up to 30 psi. And that's it. Now it'll sit like this for a couple of days. I'll check it in about 3 days. Should be ready to drink, or at least pull some off and try it. And we'll see how it goes from there. If I need to let it sit a little bit more, I'll do that. And then for serving PSI, I'll turn that down to about 12. But if you're into homebrew and you want to see how this continues to go, you can go ahead and check out the links in this video or post. I'll put links to the brew that I made for this, the beer that I made for this, and then just be sure to check back in, subscribe or like, and you can check back in a couple of days, about a week or so, by the time I get the video up, to see how this beer is tasting. So anyways, that is how you keg your beer using one of these mini kegs. It's super easy, like I said, and like I just showed you. Cuts out all of the mess and the headache of bottling. Not that I hate bottling, it's a great option, but these kegs are pretty cost effective actually. They're not terribly expensive, and then once you get everything, then it really does speed up the process, saves you time, and ultimately it will end up saving you money, I believe, in the long run once you start calculating bottles and the fact that you're gonna have to replace those. And even if it doesn't replace it, if it's just a one-for-one cost ultimately, it's still a fun way to do your beer. However, each brewer has their own opinion, flavor, and taste. So there you go. So that is how you use one of these mini kegs. Links to this will be in the description of this video so you can find it. Again, my name is Drew. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you later. Can't wait to drink this.